Margaret Jones from Lancashire, UK, claims she has had a very specific experiences with angels, one of which purportedly unfolded at her church 20 years ago, while she was singing in a choir. She felt the pressure of what seemed like a human hand touching her own hand. As she was standing on the edge of the choir, she assumed that the lady, Deborah, who had been playing the organ, had come over to join them, so she thought nothing of it. The hand then left hers, and a few moments later she opened her eyes, and was surprised to see that Deborah was still sitting at the organ and wasn't beside her. It was after the service that a fellow congregant told Jones that an angel was next to her and touched her hand. Annabel Beam was only 9 years old when she miraculously survived a 30-foot fall. While she was playing with her sisters outside their Texas home, she plummeted inside a hollowed-out cottonwood tree. An emergency helicopter rushed her to a hospital in Fort Worth, where brain and spinal injury teams prepped for Annabel's arrival, but astonishingly, Annabel was unscathed. After the accident, Annabel began describing religious visions she had while she was unconscious. She says that she met a guardian angel during the incident. "I started to wake up in the tree, and I could hear the firemen's voices. And I saw an angel that looked very small, like a fairy. The angel then winked and he told her, 'I'm going to leave you now and everything is going to be okay.' The angel stayed with her the entire time, shining a light so she could see until she was rescued." When I was in my 20s, I spent 4 years traveling the world. I was in South Africa, just outside Durban, and a friend had taken me on his motorbike to his favorite waterfall. We had both been swimming, but I got cold and went to sit on a patch of green grass. To get there, I had to step from the sand I was on over a log, then across a bit to the grass. I was walking medium speed, and lifted one foot to step over the log, when a very loud booming masculine voice shouted, "Stop." Except the shout wasn't heard with my ears, it was inside my head. Hard to explain. Also, there was nobody else around except Tim and I, and he was still happily swimming. I stopped, wondering what had just happened. I still had my foot in the air above the log. I looked around, and spotted what I thought was a leaf waving about 6 inches from my big toe. It took me a few seconds to realize that it wasn't a leaf, but a snake. A black mamba. He had his head raised and was licking the air right near my toe. He was waiting to see what my next move was to be, and he had seen me long before I saw him. I slowly backed up and walked very carefully backwards to where Tim was. I have no explanation for the voice that I heard, except that it was so loud and was inside my head rather than heard with my ears, and it came at a time when I didn't feel in any danger at all. In fact, I was very calm and happy. I feel that it was my guardian angel who shouted at me to stop, as I would have stepped right on the snake. My guardian angel saved my life. Angel Force. I was headed home to my children driving in the slow lane. The next thing I knew, I was flying in the air in my Ford Windstar. I had no control. When my van landed, it looked like a crane put it there. It was in the ditch perfectly. I had little room to get out. I felt like some force had lifted me up out the ditch. I then saw this man, who was so calm. He put a calmness in my heart. I never saw him again. I still can't explain how perfectly my van was in the ditch. Mama. Falling tree. A retired woman in England couldn't help but count her blessings as she watched as a huge tree came crashing down onto her car, the same car she'd been about to enter. Thanks to divine intervention, she narrowly escaped death. Joyce Woodward was about to head out for the day when the phone started ringing, taking her away from the car. The tree, out of nowhere, then plummeted, leaving the car a mangled mess. "It just came down by itself, but it does look rotten at the bottom," Joyce said. "If I hadn't had a phone call to deal with, I would have been in the car. I think I have a guardian angel."